I never imagined I'd become a target of the Homeowners Association president, but I also never expected someone like Diane Walters to hold so much sway in our quiet suburban neighborhood. Most people called her Karen behind her back, a fitting nickname, considering her constant need to speak to the manager about absolutely everything. When I moved into Oak Ridge Estates 6 months ago, I had no idea the HOA would turn into the bane of my existence. It all started with a bird bath. Yes, a simple stone bird bath I placed in my front garden. According to Diane, it violated Section 14, Paragraph 3 of the HOA Handbook. No outdoor decorative elements exceeding 18 inches in height without prior written approval. I hadn't realized I needed permission just to let birds have a sip of water in my own yard. But Diane made sure to enlighten me by taping a bright yellow violation notice to my door. "Mr. Reynolds, we take our community standards very seriously here," she said with a sugary smile when I confronted her. Her perfectly highlighted blonde bob didn't shift an inch as she tilted her head in that condescending way of hers. "Perhaps you should have read the full handbook before installing unauthorized fixtures." I removed the bird bath, thinking that would settle things. I was wrong. Over the next few months, citations piled up, my grass a 1/4 inch too long, my trash bin visible from the street for more than 4 hours after pickup, and my personal favorite, excessive holiday decorations. Apparently, my modest string of Christmas lights was garish and disruptive to community aesthetics. But after 35 years as a postal worker, I'd learned how to deal with difficult people. I took it all in stride, followed the rules, and kept my opinions to myself. My pension check was my reward for decades of service, and I wasn't about to let Diane ruin my retirement. Then, one Thursday, my pension check didn't arrive. Unusual, because in all my years, the Postal Service had never failed to deliver it on the first of the month. I waited until Friday. Still nothing. Concern gnawed at me, so I called the pension office. They confirmed the check had been mailed on schedule. "It should have arrived by now, Mr. Reynolds," the representative told me. "I can initiate a trace if you'd like." I agreed, but in the meantime, bills were piling up and my checking account was running dry. As I weighed which payments I could delay, I glanced out the window and saw Diane striding up to Mrs. Garcia's house, violation notice in hand. The smug confidence in her walk made my stomach tighten. The following day, my neighbor Tom stopped by. "Hey, Jeff, did you know Diane's been taking mail from people's boxes?" My wife saw her early one morning. At first, she thought Diane was collecting misdelivered mail to return, but it didn't seem right. A chill went down my spine. "Did she notice which houses Diane took mail from?" "Not exactly," Tom admitted. "But she said Diane was going house to house. Yours would have been on her path." That was it. I decided to set a trap. I called an old colleague from the post office, Mike, who still worked as a carrier in our neighborhood. "Mike, I need a favor. Can you tell me what time you'll deliver tomorrow and hold any important-looking envelopes so I can pick them up directly?" He agreed. The next day, I stationed myself near the window. 10 minutes after Mike dropped off my mail, there she was, Diane, strolling casually down the sidewalk, pausing at each box. When she reached mine, she glanced around, opened it, and rifled through the contents. I hit record on my phone, zooming in as she pulled out an envelope that looked like it came from my credit union and slipped it into her purse. Fury surged through me, but I stayed calm. This wasn't just an HOA grievance. It was mail theft, a federal offense. I called Mike immediately and described what I'd seen. His voice grew serious. "This is bad, Jeff. Really bad. I contacted the Postal Inspection Service immediately. They don't take mail theft lightly. 2 days later, I received a call from Postal Inspector Sarah Martinez. 'Mr. Reynolds, we've reviewed your video evidence and have reason to believe Ms. Walters may have taken your pension check, along with other mail from your neighborhood. We'd like your cooperation in setting up a sting operation.' The plan was straightforward, but effective. The pension office issued a replacement check, discreetly fitted with a tracking device inside the envelope. Inspector Martinez and her team would monitor it, and if Diane attempted to steal it, they would catch her in the act. The following week, the replacement check arrived on schedule. From my window, I watched as Mike delivered it, giving me a quick, knowing nod before sliding it into my mailbox. Then came the waiting. An hour later, Diane's silver SUV pulled up across the street. She stepped out with her phone in hand, pretending to snap photos of my lawn, no doubt looking for supposed violations. When she thought no one was watching, she strolled casually to my mailbox. My pulse quickened as she opened it, snatched my envelope, and stuffed it into her designer handbag along with a handful of other letters. Just as she turned to leave, a plain van pulled up and 2 inspectors stepped out. Credentials in hand. "Ms. Walters," Martinez called out, her voice firm. "I'm Postal Inspector Martinez, and this is Inspector Johnson. We need to speak with you about the mail you just removed from this box." Diane froze. Her smug expression drained into panic. I was just collecting misdelivered mail to return to the post office," she stammered, clutching her bag tighter. "Ma'am, please set the bag on the ground and step away," Johnson ordered. Her voice rose into the familiar shrillness I'd endured at countless HOA meetings. "This is ridiculous. Do you know who I am? I'm the president of this HOA. You'll lose your jobs for harassing me." Martinez stayed calm. "Ms. Walters, we have video evidence of you removing mail from several boxes in this neighborhood over the past 2 weeks. The envelope you just took contains a federal pension check with a tracking device inside. Mail theft is a federal crime punishable by up to 5 years in prison and a $250,000 fine." By then, neighbors had begun gathering, drawn by the commotion. Diane's eyes darted around desperately, realizing she had an audience. "This is all a misunderstanding," she insisted, her voice cracking. "I was only trying to protect community standards. The inspectors weren't fooled." They ordered her to open her handbag. Inside were my pension check, several neighbors' credit card statements, utility bills, and even a birthday card. As they placed her in handcuffs and read her rights, I felt a strange mix of grim satisfaction and pity. In less than 15 minutes, Diane had fallen from HOA tyrant to federal criminal. A later search of her home uncovered dozens more stolen letters, including my original pension check that she'd been too cautious to cash. The evidence was overwhelming. She was formally charged with mail theft, a federal felony. Her attorney attempted to negotiate a plea deal, but the prosecutor, noting the scale and premeditation of her thefts, pushed for significant penalties. 3 months later, I sat in the courtroom as the judge delivered her sentence. 2 years in federal prison, 3 years of supervised release, and a $75,000 fine. Diane's carefully composed face collapsed. "But who will run the HOA?" she cried, scanning the room as if someone might rescue her. The judge simply shook his head and called the next case. Officers led her away, leaving the neighborhood and me finally free of her reign.